And good morning at 7:04 on this Friday, February 14th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome here on a Friday morning. We're kind of at the end of the work week, and we welcome you to our program. Each Friday, of course, we feature Wilson Bank and Trust. And this morning, not one, but two people are here to talk about the bank. We have Amanda Webb, who is Vice President and Office Manager. Amanda, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
And we have Dusty Meadow here. Dusty is the Head Customer Service Representative. And good morning to you, Dusty.
Good morning, Mr. Coleman.
We are glad to see you. And Amanda, tell us, you're the office manager where?
At the Castle Heights office, we like to call it the Mike's Foodland office now because that's where they kind of get us confused sometimes with the main. So we will make sure everybody knows we're over there. We're a full service bank. We're waiting to help you. Can do anything that you need.
How long have you been there?
In some form or fashion, 27 years.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
At this one location?
Oh, no. I started at the main for many years.
You've been with the bank 27 years.
Yeah.
All right. And how long at Castle Heights?
3 to 4. I kind of lost count, but yeah.
Oh, Dusty, what about you?
I have been at the bank 4 years, and actually just turned 4 years February 1st. So I've been at the Castle Heights location. I believe this is going on my third year, and I was at the Watertown location for 1 year.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, now that we know your bank's history.
Yes, sir.
What's on the agenda this morning?
Well, one thing is we want to make sure everyone knows that we're going to be closed for President's Day on Monday. So if you have any banking needs, come and see us. Get those change orders in if you need anything.
Well, Monday's holiday for a lot of people, and anytime there's a federal holiday like this, all our banks are closed, and a lot of other institutions. Of course, we'll be here Monday, and hope our listeners will be as well. But and what about your Saturdays? You have office hours on Saturday?
Our office will not be open on Saturday. We don't do that, but we have several. Our main office is full service on Saturday, so we definitely have places out there that you can get those needs filled.
But if you need to see you, come today or wait till Tuesday.
That's it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, that's pretty much it. What else you got for us?
Well, we want to remind you that right now it's kind of a boring time. You're sitting around the house. It might be a good time to think about some projects. And we have some really good loan rates right now, and we have some specials out there, so we'd love for you to come see us and talk about those. Let's make them real.
Well, I was thinking what we might be talking about this morning, and it just occurred to me that I had thought about last weekend's expo. I'm sure you had at least a few hours or a little part to play there.
Yes.
How'd it go?
It was terrific. We had, I think, again, just record turnout. We usually do kind of ugly weekend. We had some terrific vendors. I think a lot of people were bored and thinking about those projects, and I think we matched a lot of our customers with, and just people in the community in general, with some people that can help them get things done. And so great turnout, great vendors, and we look forward to next year's.
And I don't think we can say that special rate is necessarily continued, but you got a very good one. If it doesn't exactly match it, you can still get that loan and get things done.
Absolutely. Just come see me. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, Dusty, you got any words for anybody this morning? You are the let me put my glasses on here and get your title right again. You are the Head Customer Service Representative, so I guess a little extra responsibility on your shoulders.
Yes, sir. Just a little bit. I pretty much do just about everything Amanda asked me to do. Kind of going back on what she said, we have some great CDs right now, great CD specials. Just come down and see us, and we'll love to take care of you. And do everything we can.
Would think that since the Fed didn't change the rates the other day, that we can expect your specials, what you're paying on CDs and so on is probably going to be around the same for until they meet again. Anyway.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You have a good staff of people there, and of course you have a drive-through and full service in every respect, right?
Absolutely. I'm really proud of the staff there. We've had no changes in probably over 2 years, really. I think everyone there, I'll probably lose, unfortunately, because I think they're going to move up. They're that good. So anybody you come in and see, you have full faith in them. They love people. We love our customers there. We just want more of them. We want to meet everybody. Right. And anybody you meet in my office, I'm proud of them.
And I think that speaks speaks volumes for Amanda as well. Having a terrific boss, her and Ashley. You don't find that everywhere you go. So there's a reason why we stick around. Obviously, our customer base is great, so that keeps us going as well.
Well, I'll have to say it's the most convenient branch for me, and whoever's at the drive-in window gets to see Helen and me occasionally when there's something to do. If it's real serious, we'll come inside. But
right, yes, sir.
That's kind of the way it works for a lot of people, isn't it? It's just faster going through the drive-through, and you have some really good people on the window there, too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, anything else? That it? All right. Well, we thank you all for being with us again this morning. Amanda Webb, who is the Vice President, Office Manager, Castle Heights Branch, Dusty Meadow, Head Customer Service Representative, and it's Wilson Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender. They're still here, still independent, still committed to you, excellence in banking since 1987. 10 minutes after the hour. It's Friday. What does that mean? It's time for our Friday Senate report with Senator Mark Porty.
Good morning, Coleman. What a great day. And I got awesome news today.
Oh, I want to hear it.
Well, you know what? The budget came out, and we had the state of the state. And Coleman, I'm going to tell you, I can be very critical of how we spend money, both on the state and the federal level and such. But probably of all the budgets I've looked at, this is maybe one of the absolute best budgets we have. So when you can take somebody like me and say, we did a pretty good job on our budget, what's being proposed, I think that says something.
Does this mean there won't be a lot of changes, perhaps, when the final thing is voted on?
There'll be some changes. We know that there'll be an additional budget that he'll recommend in about a month. He'll come back and saying, hey, here's some adjustments we want to make. There's going to be some additions that legislators will try and put in and say, I don't want to call it pet projects, but it'll be things that they'll turn around and say, hey, we think this is really, really serious. We'd like to do that. And in fact, I'll be doing one myself. I want to see if we can't do something for the state fair, for the birthing center of how we can actually get that. It would be a year-round type thing that's going to be there. And I want to be looking to see if I can do something like that. I think that would be good for everybody. Mm-hmm. But overall, this is probably a well-balanced budget. And as a conservative Republican, I can say I think we did a good job in helping balance, keeping the very needs that have to be done out there without overspending our money. And I want to kind of dive into that a little bit more after the break.
Okay, well, we think of the budget. We obviously think of schools, maybe
yes.
Probably more money spent there than anywhere else. Schools and education. We think of law enforcement. We also think of our highways and our roads.
Yes, and we're going to break
all three of those components. You're pretty well satisfied.
Yeah, and we're excited about some of the things that are be happening. And now I will tell you something else. There was one piece of legislation I got to vote on coming up next week. I know Monday's a holiday, but we'll be back and we're actually voting on bills. And so I got a text this morning, and the text says one of your sheep's missing. Okay, I mean, so I got a guy that lives on the farm, and he said, so I don't know what happened to my sheep, but I have a farm myself, and I got to vote on something about farmland, and we're losing farmland in Tennessee really fast. I mean, it's being developed, and the farms are being divided up and such, and I don't blame the farmers because, especially second and third generation farms, they're being offered a lot of money for their farmland. Well, a farmer right now can put their land aside into a conservation area. It's totally optional if they want to do it. Now, there's the governor's trying to say, well, we're going to get the government involved in helping to do that. And as much as I want to preserve farmland, I don't know if I like the fact that government should be involved in doing something that we could do on our own. So there's a bill that's going to be proposed coming up in front of me to say the government will help you put that into a conservation area. I have mixed feelings about something like that. As much as I want to say farmland, as much as I want to do that, I could do that to my own farm today. Myself, don't need the government to help me. I don't know if government needs to expand and step into that territory. Even if it's a good cause, not what we should probably be doing.
Okay, time for us to take a break. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
Let's see what's happening on the roadways, and it's all brought to you by Absolute Kubota. They'll help you rent the right tool for the job. The Kubota Orange Rental Program makes it easy to rent the right equipment. Stop by Absolute Kubota, check out the U35 excavator or the SVL 75 compact track loader, 1506 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still a very slow go through the Jolton area. We've been talking about this for a while now on that earlier accident on 24 eastbound, trying to get past Whites Creek Pike on that earlier collision. Also trying to finish a wreck at Decatur Street and Hermitage Avenue as traffic picks up now through the Mount Juliet area. Here comes that traffic 40 west as you work your way all the way into Hermitage. Hey, when you need dependable towing here in Middle Tennessee, make sure you call STR Towing and Recovery. Check out their website. It's easy, strtow.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Hey, this is Dr. Derek Gregory, and I'm proud to announce to you the opening of our brand new dental practice, Gregory Dental Group, at 1746 West Main Street, just across the road from Sports Village. Come experience modern dentistry at its best. We're always welcoming new patients, and I truly look forward to taking the best care of all your dental needs. Come by or call us today.
That's Gregory Dental Group, 615-444-0322, or online at mylebanonTNDentist.com. Gregory Dental Group, compassion, knowledge, skill.
Hello, Phoenix fans. I'm Preston Welcher, and I'm an outfielder from Cartersville, Georgia, on the Cumberland baseball team. We return home for a 3-game series with Indiana Tech this weekend. You can hear all the games on these radio stations or online at WANTFM.com or watch them on GoCumberlandAthletics.com. Check the CU website for game times, and remember, U.S. military veterans get in free at CU home games. I'll see you at the 6.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. Let me mention, I think I've got 3 little notes here, and the first one, before I forget, is that this weekend is the last time to sign up to play Lebanon Youth baseball or softball. The girls play softball, the boys play baseball. If you want to play, you got to get signed up this weekend. And the Lebanon Senior Citizen Center's Valentine Gala Dinner is tomorrow at the Mill. It's presented by Centerwell Senior Primary Care, and it is Saturday, February 15th, beginning at 5 p.m. And among those items that will be in a live auction, Judge Barry Tatum's famous cheesecake. So, few tickets are still available. The last thing is the Black History Month celebration that was originally scheduled for 3 p.m. on Sunday, February 16th. Let me start over here. It is scheduled for Sunday, February 16th at 3 p.m. and moved from the historic Pickett Chapel to the Cedars of Lebanon Baptist Church, 201 Beard Avenue. Now, if it's inclement weather, it will be canceled. So just a reminder of that. And now back to Senator Pody.
Well, buddy, I'm going to tell you the budget that we have, and I'm going to go and this is really important to what we're doing. The proposed budget for 2026 is going to be about $59.5 billion. So that's down about $1 billion from where it was in 25. So this lower total budget primary is a result of a decline in federal funds. So it's not the state, but it is literally the federal funds that we've actually lost some money from. And as we see, and I am not going to blame what's happening in the administration on the federal side. They're cutting a lot of things, and they should. They got trillions and trillions of dollars in debt that they need to cut. So on a side note, when I'm watching them saying we're going to stop giving as much aid to people that don't like us, I would rather have them focus on taking care of citizens in the United States. So I'm watching the budget cuts, but it is going to happen to us. So as we're going through, we lost about $4.7 billion from the feds. And that's a very significant number, even though we're making it up on the state side. That money, as it's going down, it's about 1.9% that we're losing. And that's kind of the growth that we're going to be having as well. We're looking for a negative 1.91% going forward. But we've got enough money set aside. We've tightened the belt. We've done a lot of things that we needed to for the state of Tennessee. Now, I want to talk about, you mentioned education. All right, so we did, and the governor, we passed in special session about $429 million, and most of that went into public education. However, in the budget, there's more money going into the TISA funding. That's how the state funds the schools and their share, and they're increasing that $164 million. So in addition to the $198 million for the bonuses, there's another $164 million going into the public education. So I think that the governor tried to say, this is very important to me, and they're doing that. They're also looking to make sure that their health insurance, retirement contributions, everything is being funded to what they needed to do. And I'm very proud to be saying that is something that we're looking at. Now, Coleman, I have been here for years, and we're talking about how we can get money in for our roads. And I said, hey, let's take part of the sales tax or that we're already spending on sales for cars or tires or whatever, and put that into roads. And so in here, and I'm actually reading from the budget book, and this is from the governor's budget department. It says another piece of legislation the administration supports is the reappropriations of the sales tax on tires from the general fund to the highway fund. This is what I've been advocating for years and years. The estimate fiscal impact of that legislation is going to be $80 million of reoccurring revenue directed from the general fund to the highway fund. This is a user fee. This is going to help keep up with inflation. Now, $80 million isn't, it's not going to change the world, okay? But when we look at the sales tax or the gas tax that we do, that's about $350 million. That was a brand new tax that we did a few years ago, and that's what's being generated there. This is $80 million of a non-new tax going into the highway fund. It is these things. Now, I wanted to do more, and I'm going to keep pushing for more. I'm going to try and do more from the sales on the cars and things like that. But this was a really good step. It's taken us years to get here, but this is a great step that we've gotten.
It sounds like somebody's been listening a little bit to you.
I have met with the governor's staff. I've met with Jim Heisen. I have met with Butch Ely over and over and over for the last few years, advocating for just this. And I'm so glad that it's in the book. Okay, I mean, they put it in. So.
Have you had any criticism about that?
None.
Negative? No.
No. But this is the kind of things that I'm so proud that we're actually doing. We have to take care of our roads. Our infrastructure needs this, and it needs to have reoccurring money. Now, we're putting in one-time money to help their roads as well this year, and this budget's going to be doing that. But it's got to be something that future generations can count on. And doing something like this is another good step towards building the infrastructure that we need. And we need more than this, but at least it's a step going forward. So I really appreciate the governor and all the team that he's got working towards something like this. But Coleman, I've got to say, it was on Coleman Walker shows when I first introduced this years ago. I think it was 6 years ago that we started this. It's taken me this long to get this far, but it is a great step, and I do appreciate the governor.
You've been persistent.
We have. But, there's a lot of pieces of legislation that we start, and it doesn't go the first year. And this is one of them. It's just taken us a long time to get this portion, and it's not the whole thing, but it is a step. And I think that's something that happens when you're down there for a while. You can keep pushing something that you think is a good idea. If it doesn't happen the first year or the second year, hang in there, and we can work through it if it's a good piece of legislation. And this is one of them that came through. So
I don't think you need to drive very far, almost anywhere in Tennessee, to see the need that you're talking about here. We just haven't kept up with maintenance of our roads, for one thing.
No.
And some of them are getting in kind of bad shape. And if we don't, you can pay me now or pay me later. And usually when you pay later, you pay more. So,
and I am vice chairman of the transportation. So I really delve into the budget. And a lot of things we have to do is matching, because we've got to actually set aside money from the state to get money from the federal government to do our roads and for maintenance and improvements as well as new roads. If we don't do something within a few years, we will not have enough money to even put money aside for our share to draw down on federal funds. We have to do something. This is getting to be a critical step and even the governor, when he had the transportation in front of them in December when they were doing their budget presentation. He even said, I know we got to do something. And this is at least a first step towards that. We've got to do more, but I'm so appreciative that we've done this. And this is real stuff. No, you can't get your roads somewhere else. You've got to get them from your state government. That's what we're here to do. So I want to make sure we're going to keep pushing that, and I'm glad that this happened. Now, something else that I see that we're doing is, just as inflation keeps coming, the amount of money that we have in our rainy day fund is over $2 billion, okay? But we're putting in enough money to help keep that growing with inflation. So we're not adding, so we're going to add, another $39 million to it, but it's not a lot, but at least it's going to stay the same where we are looking at inflation and so forth. So I'm glad that went in. And we talk about, well, when are we going to use that rainy day fund? And it's always, we could use that money today. It's sitting aside there. But I really think that we've got to be prepared for a catastrophe that could come. It's just wise to always have an emergency fund like this. So, I know we could take that $39 million and put it towards roads, put it towards education, put it towards everything. But I think the higher priority is that we've got to have the state in strong fiscal condition so we can make sure that if something happened, the state is in a position to help bail things out, fix things as we need to. And I know
most of the people in the Senate and House feel that way, you think?
Most of them do. There's a lot of them that feel that, I'm not going to say a lot, but there is some that have argued that we got too much money in there, and they would rather spend it on needs that they think that we have today, and we have those needs, and say if an emergency comes, we'll let whoever's in office at that point handle it. And I just don't view it that way. I would rather be prepared, even if it's for future generations, that's set aside, that is a standard that we use. And this is just financing. I mean, you got to have, for example, if you were an individual, we recommend you have 3 to 6 months to set aside an emergency fund. It's a business. You've got to have money set aside in an emergency fund. As a state government, we've got to have money set aside as an emergency fund. It just is the right thing to do. And so we're going to continue to be working on that. So I'm glad the governor, I know we didn't put a lot of extra money in, but we don't have that extra money, but we still made it a priority to kind of at least help keep up with some of the basic things that we did that. He's also, as we're growing, we're going to be, safety is something we need, and our highway patrol, so he's making investment to make sure we get some more highway patrol officers out there, and that's going to be a reoccurring expense. So as we're going through, he's put that money aside for health services and such. He's setting money aside for the health services. So, that's going to be a bigger chunk of our budget. But people are moving in here to Tennessee, and we're expecting perhaps less from the federal government. So we got to be prepared more on a state basis as they're coming in. And the governor is setting some more money aside for individuals that we need them and so forth. What I will tell you that we have looked at things that we're doing, and one of the things that he said we're going to not be able to maybe afford to do is we've been feeding kids all year round, and so he's cut some of that out, and part of that was federal money, but he's looking to reinvest it a different way, and I think we'll be watching that announcement coming out probably next week of what the governor's going to be doing. He doesn't want to leave the kids hungry, okay, but he's got a new program coming out, so when you say, we're cutting this, it's not that we're getting rid of it, but I think we're going to redirect it a little bit and see if we can't do it a little bit more efficiently. And I'm going to tell you, he had something like this that happened before where he said, hey, we're going to cut some of this stuff from the federal government for health. And he said, let's make a deal that is more block granted over to us. And we took some of the rules and regulations that used to come. We were able to have savings. And Tennessee has saved hundreds of millions of dollars of that money, and we've been able to actually split it, give part of it back to the federal government on the block grant, and we've been able to use it ourselves to increase health benefits for Tennesseans. Same amount of money, but without the strings from the federal government, we've been able to do better with it, spend it better, and provide more services. So when we hear something's being cut or being changed, it doesn't necessarily we're getting rid of it or doing away with it, but if we can look at it from a different perspective, how we can get that money and do better with it as Tennesseans, it's not a bad program. Now, I got to wait for the details, and I'm waiting to see that, but that's something coming up.
kind of put our own little twist on how we're going to do it.
That's exactly right. We're going to watch the federal government be talking about block granting money from the federal government for Department of Education. And so we hear, hey, the feds are going to get rid of the Department of Education. That doesn't mean that the funding's going away, but let's see how we're going to get a portion of that funding and what strings we would be able to work with and do better here in Tennessee with that money coming from the federal government.
Okay. We've got a minute and a half. Time is getting by. Anything else?
Coleman, I got about 3 hours left.
Yeah.
But let me end it this way, though. Coleman, overall, I am not disappointed in this budget. It's a good balance, and I am one that will rail against, let's cut this, let's not spend here, let's do that. And when I'm looking at this kind of a budget, there's not a lot of extra money, so we can't expand things. But the governor said, we're going to expand more in public education, and we're tightening our belt elsewhere. But that is a really strong statement for him to be saying one of the things that is being expanded is, again, more money going into public education, even though we have less money overall to spend. That's a strong statement.
All right. Have a nice weekend. Hopefully we won't get flooded too much. And if all goes well, we'll do it again next Friday. Hope to see you then.
All right. One quick thing, Coleman. I got to say happy Valentine's to my wife as well as yours, to everybody else, that this is the day.
All right. Senator Mark Pody, our Friday Senate report. We've got more. Hope you'll keep it right here, FM 98.9.
Let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. It's $59.95 up to 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal, tire rotation, and safety checks. 1780 Franklin Road. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Still trying to clean up this wreck on 24 eastbound, just past Whites Creek Pike here in the Jolton area. They've been up here for a couple of hours, and it's caused some pretty good delays for all that traffic that normally comes through the Jolton area here on 24 eastbound in from Montgomery County, Clarksville. Again, through Jolton is a mess on 24 eastbound. It's trying to load up a little bit more volume. 24 westbound at 840 as that traffic leaves Murfreesboro, Rutherford County, headed towards Davidson County. Prince's Hot Chicken has new items on the menu. You can check them out this weekend and order online. PrincesHotChicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Love is in the air. Would you just love to sell your home, but you don't know what it's worth? We would love for you to call us, and we can preview your home and tell you the current market value. There is no obligation. We love selling homes, and we would love to sell yours.
Call Judy Cox or Medina Himmenthaler at Exit Rocky Top Realty. C&D Team 443-3130.
At Wilson Bank & Trust, we're now offering exclusive checking and savings accounts designed to benefit our hometown heroes, including active duty military, veterans, and first responders such as law enforcement, firefighters, and EMS workers. At Wilson Bank & Trust, we recognize the commitment and sacrifices these families make to serve our country and communities. Thank you for your service. Visit one of our local offices to get started today or learn more at wilsonbank.com/military. Member FDIC.
We'll have partly cloudy skies this morning, becoming cloudy this afternoon. Highs will be in the mid-40s. Rain moves back in tonight, lows in the lower 40s, and then showers and thunderstorms for our Saturday. Some of that rainfall may be heavy at times. Afternoon highs around 60. This weather forecast brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. With your Severe View forecast, I'm Drew Richards.
They didn't do that.
We welcome you to part 2 of Coleman & Company, and here on this Friday morning, it's our usual two for the C&D team, Exit Rocky Top Realty, Miss Judy and Miss Medina. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Miss Judy, how are you?
I'm doing good. It's Friday, and happy Valentine's Day to all the ladies out there.
C&D team, Exit Rocky Top Realty, 1330 West Main in Lebanon. Great people, great service, people you can trust. And I guess that includes you, Medina.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Coleman.
All right. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, I was going to talk a little bit more about title work. When you go to sell a property, they do title searches on it. And there's lots of reasons for that, because there can be liens on a property that people don't know about.
especially like a lot of HOAs. If you haven't paid your HOA dues, and a lot of people go, I'm not paying that, just let them kick me out. What are they going to do? And they have that attitude sometimes. And HOAs can put a lien on your property, and nothing happens until you get ready to sell it, and then there's a lien there. And you have to pay that off before you can sell your property.
Well, would it ever be incumbent on the future buyer, future owner to have that obligation?
Well, the seller can't. That's why they clear it up, because you don't want to buy something and then you go, oh, they haven't paid all their dues, or they hadn't paid their taxes for 3 years. Now I got to catch them up. That's what title work does.
Yeah.
They check all this stuff. So that way it keeps the seller. It's like if you want to sell your property, you got to pay this stuff off, and it has to be paid off either at closing or before closing, so that the buyer is getting a clear title.
This happened quite frequently.
Oh yeah. People will put on gutters on their house, and they got mad at the gutter guy or the siding guy or somebody that did work for them. They got mad at them, and they never paid them. Well, those people go and put a lien on that property, and you never know it, and you're ready to sell it, and you owed that gutter guy so many dollars way back when. And it's a lien, and you got to pay it off. So people don't know until they start researching the title, and that's why you always get an attorney to close a piece of property. You don't try to just go do this yourself. You can get in big trouble doing that kind of thing. And also, like when they're going to probate and you see it in the paper that so-and-so has passed away and it's in probate, that's a very important announcement. We've had one. There was 8 or 9 kids, and one of the kids had passed away. Well, his wife had passed away. So, and he had a son, and his son had passed away. So they thought there were no heirs. And then maybe 3 weeks before closing, it was a big farm here in Wilson County, and 3 weeks before closing, in walks this girl in our office, and she said, I'm their granddaughter. And I'm the granddaughter that nobody knows about.
Surprise.
And the son had a child and never told any of the family, never knew that she existed. And she is 21, and she walks in our office to say, I'm an heir to this property. And, of course, the title work had to check all this out. And sure enough, they had to prove that she was an heir, and they proved it. And she came to the closing and got her part just like the other 8 kids. So you never know. And, of course, the family was like, what do we do? I'm like, there's nothing you can do. If they prove that she's an heir to the property, she has to get her part.
Yeah.
And needless to say, that closing was very tense with all the kids around the table. It gets very tense when things like that happen.
Sound like it made an indelible impression on you.
Oh, yeah, because you're like, whoa, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know you existed. We would have called you. And then, too, also, you can, a husband and wife in the state of Tennessee, the husband can go buy a piece of property without the wife signature, and the wife can go buy a piece of property. But if you get ready to sell that piece of property, you both have to sign in the state of Tennessee if you're married. One cannot sell a piece of property and get money without the other one knowing it. You can spend money, but you can't get money. So people don't realize that. They go, she don't have to sign. Oh, yeah, she's got to come to closing or sign some kind of affidavit.
That's been interesting, too.
That gets interesting because, and all these rules were made because somebody did something crazy. And there was a guy that had a mistress that he bought property for, and then he got ready to sell it, and he sold it, and his wife didn't know about the property until something came in the mail. So anyway, there's always rules. Rules are made because people came up with something that was illegal or dishonest. So you can buy all day in the state of Tennessee, but you can't sell unless the other one knows about it and they got a sign at closing. So it keeps a lot of secrets out of the woodwork, and we get them a lot of times. So it can happen with their credit. People have credit cards that their wife don't know about or their husband doesn't know about. And when they pull credit, when they're going to buy something, sometimes something happens. So,
well, you've seen it all.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes we have to go say, we're going to take a bathroom break. Y'all just talk a minute. We'll be back.
When you think you've seen it all, no.
No.
The next day is something else.
So you always learn something, and that's the process of real estate. In fact, we just finished 2 days of classes in Nashville, continuing education. Wow. So we have to do that because there's new laws, there's new ways of doing things, and you got to stay on top of that. So I'm going to let Medina talk.
Medina, it's your turn.
Well, speaking of love, it's Valentine's Day, and wouldn't it be a great day to give your spouse, instead of flowers, buy them a house?
Oh.
Wouldn't it be a good day? Good day to do that, wouldn't it? So we have a listings for you to come look at. If you're interested in anything in Wilson County or surrounding counties and you want to see it, give us a call, even if our sign is not in the yard. If you would like to see one of our listings, give us a call. We have listings that range from a lot in Lebanon to acres in Lebanon to condos or townhomes in Lebanon to a single living in Stonebridge or Five Oaks. And then we have acreage with houses in the $1 million range. So we have a little bit of everything. And if we don't have something that you're looking for, we can help you find something that fits your needs. So give us a call on that one. We have one on Palmer Road, 1598. Palmer Road, I've talked about that one a few times, and they just reduced that price to $1.699. So give us a call on that one. That is 3 acres and a 5,000 square foot house with a 5-car garage and a backyard oasis. Is beautiful. So give us a call there. We have another one on Coles Ferry Pike that is 11 acres, and it's a custom built home as well. And it's all ADA compliant. It has everything you would need for handicap accessible, and it's at 1.2. So give us a call on that if you're looking for a townhome or a condo. They range everywhere from $300,000 to $600,000. So give us a call there. We've got one over on Cecil Road behind of Al's, what we call Al's Foodland. It's Mike's now, but at the Cedar Station. And it is a 3-bedroom, 3 full bath, and the primary is upstairs. But we also have a chairlift that stays with the house that goes upstairs, and it's a screened-in patio with a privacy tree line in the back, so you have a private backyard. So give us a call. That one is listed at $319. Okay. So give us a call. So we're here to help you, whether it be today and you buy your loved one a house, or you can look at them and then. Keep on looking, and we'd be happy to help you with that.
Okay, then remember that phone number, 615-443-3130.
That's right. And Coleman?
Yes. Yeah?
Don't forget.
I'm not.
Don't make a move without us.
Thank you so much. See y'all next Friday. Have a great one.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We are about 19 minutes before 8 o'clock, and while Jack McCall, my guest for part 2, is coming in, he's probably still talking to Senator Pody, but I'll just remind you again, the Lebanon Senior Citizen Center's Valentine Gala tomorrow. A few tickets are still available. Begins at 5 p.m. at the Mill, and will be an evening of dinner, dessert, drinks, music by Tick Bryan and Danny McCorkle. And it's the last weekend to sign up to play Little League Baseball, other baseball, whatever you've got here. But Lebanon does Lebanon Youth Baseball and Girls Softball. So get signed up by this weekend if you want to play. And don't forget the Black History Month celebration Sunday, February 16th, 3 p.m. It's been moved to Cedars of Lebanon Baptist Church, 201 Beard Avenue. If it's inclement weather, it will be canceled. Okay. Jack McCall is here. He is the county mayor for Trousdale County and Hartsville, and they just have one government over there, and he's the man in charge. It's always good to have Jack with us. He writes a column that you can read in, I think, both of our papers still, the Lebanon Democrat and the Wilson Post, and he's right here with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
How you doing?
I'm good.
It's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
It's a nice day out there, but it was quite cold this morning.
I noticed
my car said 22 degrees, I believe.
Yeah. I noticed some ice being scraped off of windows and windshields and out there.
These cold, frosty mornings like this remind you of anything necessary?
Oh, man. Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, I was talking to my brother this past week, and he asked me, did I remember the fireplace in the house where we lived on Highway 70? Do I remember coal in the fireplace? And I said I did. and then we had a wood heater in the living room. But that even takes me back to the Brim Hollow when we only had one fireplace in the entire house. It was cold mornings.
Well, the thing I remember more probably about a fireplace than anything is that you are almost too hot on one side and cold on the other, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast.
And I didn't know that the reason they built wing chairs was to have those wings to hold the heat in front of you.
Oh, really?
That's the purpose of a wing chair. And back in those days, the women would turn around and hold their skirts up and back up the fire and hope sparks weren't flying. That could be.
Back in the good old days.
Oh, that's what we call them.
What's what you mostly doing right now? Is it just I mean, the county mayor is a full-time job. I don't know whether you work 8 hours every day.
Well, it's a lot of meetings at night.
Yeah.
One of the first things they told us when I humorously talk about mayor training, but when you go to orientation right after you're elected mayor, they tell you 2 or 3 things, and one thing they told us new mayors is you have zero authority and multiple responsibilities. Because all the authority lies with the county court.
Yeah.
But
by the way, how big is your county court? How many? You have
20
representatives. You got 20 districts.
We have 10 districts and two representatives from each district. So we have 20. The purpose of a county court, as defined by the state of Tennessee, is to create an annual budget and levy taxes. Okay, that's their primary responsibility. So what we're into now is just beginning to working on next year's budget. Start pulling the numbers together and see how we're doing.
What kind of budget do you have in Trousdale County?
Total number, I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Well, I have heard in the past, and I think that there's some truth to this, that the per capita income or per capita net worth in Trousdale County is pretty good.
It's pretty good.
One of the richest, in some ways, a very rich county.
Yeah. When you ask about budget, the largest budget in our county is the educational budget. It's considerably larger than the county budget, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's budget time.
All right, and it's almost break time for us too. You are still writing your newspaper column, as I just mentioned, and I just enjoyed it. You don't ever write a bad one. Some I like maybe a little better than others, but you do a great job there. But are you still you've made I think quite a bit of your income being a speaker all over the world, but especially all over this country and some other nations. Are you doing much of that anymore?
Just very little. I'll take a day off if it's a place I really want to go. I did one recently for the Iowa Farm Bureau in Ames, and that was really fun.
Ames, Iowa.
Yeah, I prefer for the following weekends where I only have to take one day off to go, but I try to do 4 or 5 a year.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Jack McCall, my guest. More in a moment on Coleman & Company, FM 98.9.
Let's see what's happening on the roadways thanks to Bates Ford and the Lifetime Brake Pad Guarantee. With the purchase of a brake service, replacement brake pads will be provided at no cost for as long as the customer owns the vehicle. Bates Ford, they're located at 1780 Franklin Road. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. The biggest slowdown, it seems like all morning long, has been this cleanup on an accident that happened earlier this morning on 24 eastbound, just past Whites Creek Pike up here in the Jolton area. Starting to pick up even more in the last few minutes on 65 southbound down through Millersville as that traffic increases into Madison on 65 there at OHB. It's not bad, actually. Would normally be heavy on 24 westbound up through Antioch, coming in from Murfreesboro, Rutherford County. Hey, whether you need a new roof repair, roof inspection, independent roofing specialist, check out irsroofs.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
It's tax time, and Cars Unlimited Tax Service is locally owned and has 33 years of experience in preparing taxes. They do upfront loans of $250 to $6,000. They're also an authorized IRS e-file provider. Call 615-449-2955 or stop by 1006 West Main Street in Lebanon. Cars Unlimited Tax Service stands ready to help you prepare your taxes.
1.5 seconds left, no timeouts. Here's your season. Negron gives it to Bird. Bird for the win! It's good! He did it! College Hoops is back, and so is Cumberland University on the radio. Join me, John Boyce, in the booth for every Mid-South Conference game this regular and postseason for both men's and women's Phoenix basketball. Conference games are every Thursday starting at 5:30 and every Saturday starting at 1 o'clock. Phoenix basketball is right here on 98.9. Cumberland's a winner.
And we thank you for joining us, and our thanks to Jack McCall for being my guest this morning. Again, the mayor of Trousdale County. This winter weather, it's always something to write about. You remember we had a pretty. It got pretty cold here not too long ago, and then it reminded us, and we were reminded of that Monday morning. I think it was 1985, whatever it was. It was, I think the official law was 17 below, but at my house it was 24 and a half below. And I had a pretty good indoor-outdoor thermometer, and somebody at Hunters Point called out here along about that time and said it was 25 below. Out there, that's the coldest I've ever seen. What you remember that? It was after the Super Bowl. The Chicago Bears won the Super Bowl that year, I think, and it was the Monday morning after that, back there in the 80s.
I remember a time when we were in school, when we were out of school for 2 weeks, and the temperature didn't get above 5 degrees. You know, everything froze and lots of snow.
You remember what year that was?
I don't. But we don't have those long wintry times like we used to.
Well, the one I remember was about 2 or 3 weeks long. It was 1951. Mm-hmm. Were you in school in 19?
That's the year I was born, 51.
Oh, okay. Well, a little later than that.
And that's when the Cumberland River froze over. We have a photograph of my dad standing out in the middle of the Cumberland River on the ice. And supposedly a guy named Cat Sox Hessen drove a T-Model Ford across the Cumberland River that year in 1951.
Yeah. Well, it got cold, but there was a lot of freezing rain, sleet and all. Mm-hmm. It got on all the utility lines. My daddy worked at Middle Tennessee Electric, and they had power lines down all over the area, and it took them, they were working night and day to get electricity back on. People that had milking cows and needed electricity for that, they tried to, get them on first. People had a great need like that, but there's some people probably without electricity for 10 days, 2 weeks.
We, a couple of weeks ago when we had that cold spell, all the old-timers, I guess my grandchildren think I'm an old-timer now. They'll ask me to tell them about the olden days. But we talked, some of the older guys were talking about how we used to take an axe and break the ice on ponds when it got cold like that.
Yeah.
My daddy had some little funny sayings. He'd say, well, it snow was so deep we had to jack up the cow to milk her. or it was so cold I saw a rabbit walking, because if he hopped, he'd stick to the ground.
How much has your rural area, Smith and Trousdale counties especially, even here, but especially that changed since you were 20 years old, maybe?
No, it's really changed. The big change that we've seen recently in Trousdale County is because we don't have that many river bottoms, but we have so many creek bottoms they're building houses on now. And one of my buddies that moved down here from Mankato, Minnesota, tells me, he says, Jack, he said, that land will never be farmed again. Once they build houses on those creek bottoms, it'll never be farmed again. And so
that's kind of bothers me a little.
It's kind of sad in a way.
Yeah.
It is. George McDonald's a good friend of mine, and he's always giving me statistics. And I used them in my last speech. I was in Ames, Iowa, 2 Saturdays ago, speaking to a farm group, talking about the world population, how it's growing, and how much more food we're going to need. It's incredible. The world population is growing at a rate of 200,000 a day. And by 2050, we'll have 2.2 billion more people on the earth.
Ooh.
And it'll require 70% more food to feed the world.
And where's it coming from?
Well, we talked about the fact you can only get so much out of an acre. You can strategize with fertilize and do all these modern things, but sooner or later, an acre can only yield so much. So it's interesting. it makes for interesting times. But you know, Coleman, they tell me stuff like George was telling me that he can harvest an acre of corn in 3.8 minutes. And I told this group in Iowa, we used to gather corn. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
You'd pull the down row, and then I'd pick up my brothers and I'd pick up the down row for the privilege of driving the tractor. And my neighbor and my dad they'd do 4 rows on each side. So when you went through, you got 10 rows. And finally, we borrowed a 1-row corn picker from a neighbor. And I told him when I saw those ear of corn flying out of the elevator, I said, "God is good." You know, and then you went to a 2-row corn picker and a 4-row, and then a combine, and now one of my sons was out in Kansas several years ago, and we met a guy named Jesse James. That was his name, but he was showing me a combine, and they could harvest 25 acres an hour of wheat. That's 2.4 minutes per acre.
Wow,
incredible. And you know, now a GPS on the combine tells you where you need extra fertilizer at different parts of the it calibrates how much fertilizer you need on a field, when you need to add more or less as it goes across the field.
I don't know how they do all that.
I know.
I guess it's good.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. So yeah, farming's changed, and I haven't seen the landscape in Smith County change as much as I have in Trousdale, because Trousdale's a little closer to what I call the 50-mile radius of Nashville, and you know, Galton's kind of, and Lebanon are kind of heading our way. I say this jokingly that that people are coming to Trousdale County from Washington State and Utah and California and Mount Juliet, because we get a lot of people moving from Mount Juliet because everything's growing so fast.
Huh.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
And
Well,
these houses aren't cheap either. The houses they're building now.
What was population in the last census? You remember?
10,000.
Well, you grown any?
Oh yeah.
And you still continue to grow.
Yep. And the population, I usually give 2 population numbers. One, the official population includes the prison, which is 2,600. So 12.6 or 10, depending on what the question you're asking.
Right.
Hartsville the downtown is beginning to change some. It didn't change for about 30 years, and we're doing some things now to make the downtown more of a destination, and still working on getting a couple of really restaurants there that would attract people from out of town. We already have 2, but we're looking for.
Well, so one summer evening, I guess a couple of years ago, you had some little concert or band playing over there. Helen and I came over, and you doing more of that?
Downtown Sound? Yeah, we do about 3 or 4 of those a summer, and we've got a real good arts council going now, and they're working to get the Nashville Symphony up for a weekend. We just finished a $500,000, actually $600,000 park project with all the up-to-date equipment and what I call rubberized asphalt. And people will be coming from out of town for the kids to play there. It is really state-of-the-art, so that's a good thing.
What about your tax rate and your county income?
You know, Coleman, we haven't raised property tax. We raised property tax 5 cents last year, and other than that, we hadn't had a property tax increase in 13, 14 years. We did have a sunset clause in our wheel tax. It was understood that when the debt was paid on the school, that would go away, and so our wheel tax went away.
Oh.
So, and we're still in the process. We've been in the process of building a new jail for 20 years, and we're making some headway on that now. One big shot in the arm tax-wise is going to be the Enbridge project, where they're building the new gas line from Trousdale County to Kingston, where the coal plant, TVA is converting that from a coal plant to a natural gas burning plant. And it's a big project. They're putting 80 acres under solar panels on this farm just outside of town, and it'll be a 30-inch gas line, and there'll be a considerable amount of property tax come from that.
Oh, okay.
That should come in next year.
What about you building any schools? Do you even need to at this point?
We built a new high school 10 years ago. According to the way the population is growing, we'll need to build some kind of addition to our school, whether it's expand a middle school or build a new middle school. But anytime we talk about building this jail, the education lobby says, well, just keep in mind, probably in 5 years we're going to need some kind of new school. So, one of the things that Dr. Satterfield, the director of schools, a point that he makes pretty regularly is that we don't have any retail establishments that are big ticket items like cars and boats and things like that. So our sales tax numbers are kind of lagging behind.
So that's something even for the county mayor to be working on a little bit.
And I'll tell you another thing that's coming, it's already been approved, is we're really expanding our Tennessee College of Applied Technology. It's like a $30 million project. That's going to be a big deal. And we're also finding that we're going to have to get more people out there to do these skills jobs, A lot of kids coming out of college aren't prepared to do what services that we're going to need, like welders and plumbers and such. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a real need for that because the next generation has to have help doing a lot of things that they didn't learn on the farm like you and I did. We learned to make it work and fix things.
Yeah, I got you. Well, we've got the end of our time here. Jack, it's always good to see you, and
it's always good to come over. I had the opportunity yesterday. I have some friends in Portland, and I was on the radio station up there yesterday, and we told stories for 2 hours. So, sometime when you got 2 hours coming, I'll come tell stories.
Jack McCall, Trouson County. That's it for Friday. Have a nice weekend till Monday. I wish you a fantastic day.